The Golden State Warriors are entering the 2025-26 NBA season with a unique mix of optimism, questions, and renewed chemistry. The headline of this story centers around Jimmy Butler, a veteran star who was traded to the Warriors midway through last season, and how his first off-season with the team has set a new tone for their future. What's fascinating is how Butler, who has never been known as someone who hosts team-building events at his own home, chose to open his doors this off-season. He organized a player-led mini-camp at his home in San Diego. This gesture, while it might look small on paper, represents something much deeper, a cultural reset for Golden State. Less than a year ago, Jimmy Butler shocked the NBA world when he was dealt to the Golden State Warriors at the trade deadline. Coming off his Miami Heat run, many wondered how a fiery, sometimes confrontational personality like Butler would blend into a team that has long been defined by selflessness, shooting, and movement. The results? Immediate success. Golden State finished 23-8 after acquiring Butler. That surge pushed them to the 7th seed in the Western Conference, and gave them just enough momentum to upset the number 2 seeded Houston Rockets in the first round of the playoffs. Butler slotted himself perfectly as what he called the Robin to Stephen Curry's Batman. That sense of humility and self-awareness immediately resonated with Warriors fans and players alike. Instead of trying to be the face of the franchise, Butler leaned into being a glue piece. And with that approach, he became someone the locker room could rally around. Fast forward to this summer. Butler decided to do something he hadn't done before: host a mini-camp at his own home. "Maybe a couple times, but not at my own home," Butler told the media on Warriors Media Day. "I just wanted to be around my guys. Those guys are like my family." At the camp, players bonded, shared wine from Butler's massive cellar, which Draymond Green jokingly described as the wine cellar of an emperor, and built the kind of chemistry that goes beyond playbooks and X's and O's. Quinton Post and Alex Tui, two young faces in the Warriors system, even joked about how extravagant the experience was. But for the veterans, it was about building trust. Draymond Green emphasized this when he said, "When things get hard on the court, you can look back on those times in San Diego. You draw from those moments. That's what makes this moment so crucial." Teams don't always win championships because of talent. They win because, but the question lingers: how will the Warriors reincorporate Kuminga if and when his contract situation is resolved? For a team that relies so heavily on chemistry and togetherness, missing one of their most talented young players during such a crucial bonding moment could have ripple effects. No one embodies the Warriors' culture more than Stephen Curry. And at Media Day, Curry made sure to highlight why Butler's presence matters. "I think first it helps him just as a human being," Curry said. "As a player, to have something that he knows, a situation he knows, that clarity is refreshing." For Curry, Butler represents stability, a veteran who understands how to win, but also someone who isn't caught up in distractions. Curry sees Butler as having a sense of peace now that he's with Golden State, and that peace could be a huge asset for the team. Curry's comments reflect his leadership style. He doesn't just talk about stats or roles. He talks about human connection, mental clarity, and the intangibles that drive performance. Draymond Green also spoke about how this offseason feels different from last year. Instead of scrambling to integrate Butler after a mid-season trade, they now have the chance to build an identity from day one. "You can implement more things. You can build an identity from the beginning," Green said. "Defensive terminology and all the things that you build starting in training camp, we're able to do that this year. That identity will be crucial." Golden State has new faces like Al Horford and Anthony Melton. They're trying to re-establish themselves as contenders in a Western Conference that only gets tougher each season. Having clarity on who they are from the jump is something they lacked last year. The San Diego minicamp wasn't just about basketball drills. It was about laughter, bonding, and trust. Players joked, ate together, and saw a side of Butler that the NBA rarely sees: a host, a leader, and a teammate willing to be vulnerable. Those are the experiences that turn teammates into brothers. Draymond Green summed it up best: "You can always look back to that experience when times get hard. that memory becomes a tool. When they're down 15 in Denver in January or struggling on a tough road trip, they can recall the wine cellar, the laughs, and the bonds built in San Diego. That's the hidden fuel behind championship teams. As training camp opens, the Warriors have momentum. They're not a rebuilding team. They're not a fading dynasty. They're a team in transition, but a positive one. Jimmy Butler is at the center of that transition. His willingness to call himself Robin, his decision to open his home, and his bond with Curry and Green all point to a future where Golden State can compete at the highest level again. But much depends on how the Kuminga situation resolves. He's the athletic wing who represents their future. If he buys back in, the Warriors have the best of both worlds, veterans with rings and hungry young talent. The Golden State Warriors are entering the 2025-26 NBA season with a storyline that has the basketball world buzzing. After years of being defined by their small ball dynasty, their three-point shooting, and their relentless pace, the Warriors have quietly reshaped their roster. The most surprising and perhaps smartest addition is veteran center Al Horford, a player who brings not only experience but also a unique skill set that could give the Warriors a brand new dimension. When the news first broke, it didn't come with fireworks. There wasn't a massive press conference or a viral video from the Warriors' social media team. Instead, it came from trusted NBA insider Shams Charania, who reported that Horford had agreed to a multi-year deal with Golden State. What followed, however, was an avalanche of reactions from analysts, fans, and former players. Among them, the loudest and most enthusiastic voice belonged to ESPN's own Stephen A. Smith, who did not hesitate to call this a damn good pickup for the Warriors. Stephen A.'s excitement wasn't just about Horford as an individual, it was about what he represents in the Warriors system. At 39 years old, many players would be considered washed up, but Horford has defied that narrative. He has remained effective on both ends of the court, shooting nearly 40% from three during his final years in Boston, while still defending at a high level. For a Warriors team that has always valued shooting and versatility, this is a golden match. Let's dive into why this signing matters. First, the Warriors desperately needed size and consistency in the frontcourt. Kevin Looney, while respected and hardworking, has struggled with injuries and lacks the offensive versatility that Horford brings. Draymond Green is a defensive genius but undersized for the center role in certain matchups. By bringing in Horford, the Warriors finally have a big man who can stretch the floor, pass intelligently, and anchor the defense without clogging up space for Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler. Yes, you heard that right, Jimmy Butler, another addition who has reshaped this roster. Now, imagine a lineup with Curry running the point, Butler on the wing, Draymond orchestrating defense, and Horford spreading the floor as a stretch five. It's not just balance, it's nightmare fuel for opposing teams. Horford doesn't need the ball to be effective. He doesn't require heavy minutes. He simply plugs into a system and makes the entire team better. Stephen A. Smith's approval also carries weight because he's been one of the harshest critics of the Warriors over the years. He has called them out when they got complacent, when they failed to develop their young players, and when they made questionable roster decisions. So, when someone like him goes out of his way to call this the Warriors' smartest move in years, you know it means something. But it's not just about Horford. The Warriors' off-season strategy has been intriguing. Alongside Horford, they've secured the returns of Gary Payton II and Anthony Melton. Both players are defensive-minded guards, known for their grit, hustle, and ability to disrupt opposing offenses. In a league dominated by star wings and explosive guards, having this kind of depth is essential. Together, Payton and Melton can form one of the most annoying backcourt duos to play against, bringing pressure, steals, and relentless energy. Then there's the Jonathan Kuminga situation. For months, Warriors fans were worried that Kuminga's contract negotiations would lead to a messy split. Rumors swirled about trades, disagreements with ownership, and even possible locker room tension. Joe Lacob, the team's owner, reportedly asked Kuminga directly, "Do you want to be here?" It was a question that could have defined the future of Golden State. Thankfully, Kuminga has shown signs of commitment, and with Horford joining, the roster suddenly looks more balanced. Kuminga can continue to grow as a two-way forward without being forced into roles he's not ready for. What does all of this mean for Stephen Curry? Well, at 37 years old, Curry is no longer the young superstar carrying the entire franchise on his back. He still has the shot, the vision, and the leadership, but he needs help. Bringing in veterans like Horford and Butler ensures that Curry doesn't have to play superhero every night. Instead, he can focus on efficiency, conserving energy, and being the closer when games get tight. This is how you extend a superstar's career and give him a chance at one more championship run. The Warriors' history proves that veteran additions can change everything. Think back to Andre Iguodala's arrival in 2013. He wasn't in his prime, but his leadership and versatility helped shape the dynasty. Think about Kevin Durant joining in 2016. His presence turned a great team into an unbeatable juggernaut. Even in smaller cases, Sean Livingston, David West, Andrew Bogut, the Warriors have always valued high IQ veterans who bring stability. Horford fits that mold perfectly. Of course, there are risks. Horford is nearly 40, and while his numbers have held up, Father Time is undefeated. Can he stay healthy through an 82-game season? Can he keep up with younger, faster centers? Can he give the Warriors reliable minutes deep into the playoffs? These are valid questions. But the beauty of this signing is that the Warriors don't need him to play 35 minutes a night. They just need him to give 20 to 25 quality minutes, hit open threes, guard multiple positions, and serve as a mentor in the locker room. That's more than worth the contract they've given him. The NBA community has reacted strongly to this move. Celtics fans are heartbroken but happy to see Horford land in a good situation. Warriors fans are cautiously optimistic, seeing shades of past championship rosters. Analysts across ESPN, TN. The Golden State Warriors are once again at the center of the NBA conversation, and this time the focus is on a surprising but intriguing name, Al Horford. Reports indicate that the veteran big man is on the verge of joining the Warriors, a move that could reshape their roster and bring much-needed depth to the frontcourt. At 38 years old, Horford has built a reputation as one of the smartest and most reliable players in the league. His ability to stretch the floor, defend multiple positions, and serve as a leader in the locker room makes him a valuable piece for any contender. For Golden State, the question is simple: can Al Horford be the missing piece to keep their championship window alive? When we talk about Horford, we cannot ignore his long track record of success. From his years in Atlanta to his key role with the Boston Celtics, Horford has proven that age is just a number. He continues to contribute at a high level, particularly on defense where he has consistently battled against some of the league's top big men. For the Warriors, who have struggled to match up with elite frontcourt players like Nikola Jokic and Anthony Davis, Horford's presence could be critical. His ability to guard bigs while also spacing the floor with his shooting gives Steve Kerr an option that the team has been lacking. But signing Horford isn't just about his individual skills, it's about fit. Imagine Horford playing alongside Draymond Green. Both are excellent defenders and communicators, capable of anchoring the defense and directing younger players. On offense, Horford's ability to hit threes would open the floor for Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Even more importantly, his veteran IQ would help stabilize the team in critical playoff moments. This is exactly the type of player Golden State usually targets: experienced, versatile, and unselfish. Of course, no conversation about the Warriors is complete without discussing Jonathan Kuminga. The 21-year-old forward has emerged as one of the brightest young talents on the roster. Last season, Kuminga showed major growth, increasing his scoring, attacking the rim with confidence, and improving defensively. However, his journey hasn't been without frustration. Reports over the past year suggested that Kuminga was unhappy with his inconsistent role and minutes under Steve Kerr. While he has remained